Episode number 3 of our FIFA 22 Newcastle United Career Mode. After a mid-table finish in the Premier League last season, we've seen a rise in our transfer budget for Season 2. We'll have about 50 million to work with. However, that number may change because I left y'all with some important decisions to make at the end of the last episode, specifically the future of Saint-Maximin. And I've got to say the vote was pretty 50-50. About half of you were saying that we should keep him here at the club, let him become a legend at Newcastle because he is our star player. The other half saying we should review transfer offers, and if the right bid comes in from a team where he's actually going to get playtime and also get a bump up in Champions League football or European football at the very least, then we should genuinely review that offer. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, for those of you that want to see Saint-Maximin say, not a lot of offers came in for him. Just the one bid from Bayern Munich, which was slightly over his evaluation of 36.5 million, but they've got so many left wingers in the squad already. You've got the likes of Serge Gnabry, Kingsley Coman. So I think at an 82 overall, Saint-Maximin would struggle to get into the Bayern team. That doesn't mean I've shut the door on transfer offers in the future, but for now, Saint-Maximin will stay as a Newcastle player. But another member of our squad that was gathering some interest was Callum Wilson. He's got a pretty good goal scoring record in the Premier League, and I think clubs have taken notice of that, including Arsenal, who have lost out on some strikers throughout this save. As far as squad depth goes, Alexander Lacazette is their main man. Apparently, Aubameyang has made the move to Serie A as he joined Atalanta. I decided to accept the 20 million bid from Arsenal, reflect a little bit of realism in this save because we didn't qualify for European football. The same can be said for Arsenal, but they've got a high profile. I genuinely believe Wilson can be one of their star players as he inherits the number 10. And when the time does come, we may see a rematch against Arsenal in the future fixtures. I do want to cover some of our board objectives this season. Domestically, we're looking to finish in a Europa League spot, so a step up from last year, and also reach the round of 16 in the FA Cup. But I think this is an interesting objective for finances, looking to gain 43 million in earnings from shirt sales, so maybe we need to make that big transfer in order to get the fans excited for another season at Newcastle. Also, in the long term, we need to increase the club's worth by 20%. And I'm not going to say we've had a financial takeover here at Newcastle, but I think we certainly have more funds to work with compared to season 1. When I was reviewing the free agents, as I always do at the beginning of a new season, I was very much intrigued to see Gareth Bale was available on a free. He's had an interesting storyline, of course, starting at Southampton, making the transfer to Spurs in the Premier League, then moving to Real Madrid and having a very successful spell there. But just 2 summers ago, it appeared that Gareth Bale would be joining Newcastle. Apparently, he was going to be their star player as that financial takeover seems set to be done. Of course, that never happened, and then Bale made the loan transfer to Spurs last season and had a pretty respectable goal-scoring campaign in the Premier League once again. I think the storylines work out perfectly. The fact that he's a free agent is also a nice bonus. And as he is 32 years old, it means he's not going to be a long-term striker for us, rather someone that gets us back into European competition, eventually becomes more of a squad rotational player as Jolinton and Munoz grow in their overall. He will be on the highest wages at the club, but that's just a sacrifice we'll need to make to sign a free agent and a player whose profile is so high. And instead of playing him at his default right mid position, we're actually going to convert him to a center forward. It's saw a +1 in his rating as we stick him on the Bombardier development plan to hopefully preserve his pace and shooting stats. Another common theme that y'all wanted me to focus on in this transfer window is the sides that got relegated from the Premier League last season and are now in the Championship. Starting with Brentford, they've got a load of 80+ potential players. Ivan Toney was suggested a lot in the comments section. He got into the top 15 for goals despite Brentford finishing 20th in the table. The one thing that stopped me from bringing him in as our striker option is that his spell at Newcastle wasn't the best. He got sent out on loan a few times and he never really broke into the Rafa Benitez squad. Brighton's up next in another squad that has a lot of high potential players. You've got Cucurella at the 83 overall, Bissouma a quality center defensive mid, but we're not just focusing on the potential of these players. We want to find someone that fits into the squad perfectly. And after looking over the options at Norwich, I think Todd Cantwell would be the perfect addition for us at the right mid position. High medium work rates, 4-star skills, and someone that Newcastle has been linked with in previous transfer windows. He played a big part in Norwich's promotion season that saw them win the championship last year, IRL. And for just 17.5 million, we're signing him for less than the fee that Wilson departed the club for. A few changes on development plans. We're going to stick him at right mid because it fits the system we use with this 3-5-2 formation. No change in his rating, but on the wide midfielder development plan, we're going to see his pace, passing, and dribbling see an increase. Matty Longstaff also returning to the club from his season season-long loan at Aberdeen. Nice to have another storyline here with the Longstaff brothers. Sean played a rotational role for us last season, but we'll see how they all perform. It's going to be a box-to-box dev plan for Maddie. Last FIFA, I put James Ward-Prowse on this exact development plan, and that turned him into a 90+ potential player. Fingers crossed we can see the same sort of result here. I wanted to mention that there's a bug in FIFA 22 career mode right now. If you have this sort of loan, like we have for Santiago Munoz, who would usually be expiring in January of season 2, for whatever reason, once you head into the new season, he becomes a free agent, still out on loan. So I'm not sure how all of that works, but fortunately I had a couple of backup saves available, so we were able to sign Munoz on a permanent basis. Meanwhile, one of our youth academy promotions, Ezra Godfrey, had a center attacking mid development plan in progress. We finally managed to complete that training as he gets a nice boost of 6 in his overall. Still working as an advanced playmaker. He'll get the occasional appearance this season in the Premier League and Cup competitions, but in the future I will be looking to send him out on loan because I think it's a great way for y'all to interact in the comment section which countries you want to see scattered out. I'm going to add a third and final scout. It is a 5-star one, as we'll look at 3 new scouting updates, keeping our first scout in England, looking for a physically strong player, still trying to find that Alan Shearer-esque sort of player. Northern Ireland was another suggestion, trying to find a player with a similar profile to George Best, as this network will focus on a winger. Finally, we've got a network in France looking for a technically gifted player, purely due to the fact that Newcastle signed so many French players. This makes sense. Couple of final updates. Matt Ritchie will be switching from a left wing back over to center defensive mid. I think it suits his stats quite well, and he actually features quite a bit in Newcastle's midfield IRL. It'll help preserve his pace, defending, and physical attributes. In this transfer window, we were finally able to send more players out on loan. Bondswell, James, Valakari, and Murphy will spend the season away. Hopefully some of those players will see a boost in their rating and maybe even in potential status. We'll kick off this season's Premier League campaign against Fulham, and this is a club that has a lot of momentum after winning last season's championship playoffs. They are going to be a tough test, but I'm fully confident in this selection of players. Really like the additions we made in the summer transfer window. Hopefully our new signings can make an impact and the standout players from last season can continue their good form. 2 player debuts for Bale and Cantwell, but both of them have played a number of minutes in the Premier League, so this is just another match for them. Fulham have shown a lot of resilience in the past despite getting relegation every now and then. They always seem to find their way back to the Premier League, and we'll see if they can have a successful campaign here. But we'll get the first highlight. It's going to be Saint-Maximin playing out wide to Lewis. He'll float it across, and it's none other than Gareth Bale, who nearly scores just 3 minutes into his debut. Kind of giving you an idea of how he's going to act in this squad, whereas Saint-Maximin is going to be a creator, Bale is going to be a target man striker. Unfortunately, some good build-up play from Fulham will result in our first goal conceded of the season. Still about 80 minutes left to play in this match. And this is what I mean, at least in FIFA 22, Fulham play a very exciting style of play. They're even looking to add a second here before the halftime break, but it's going to be a big double save from Dubravka to deny those efforts, and we'll look to make things even as we go into the second half. Saint-Maximin showing that precise dribbling, the layoff pass over to Almiron on his right foot is going to see the effort save. Joelinton getting an opportunity for Gareth Bale. One of the main weaknesses in his game is that he's got really low stamina, so we'll need to rely on some of our rotational strikers to play a role in this squad. And Joelinton, how about that for a goal? Maybe it won't be goal of the season, but you've got to respect the effort from a striker. We just want goals. I don't care how they're scored. We even get a little bit of luck going our way with the kick save going into the back of the net, similar to what happened for Woodman last season in the Carabao Cup against Manchester City. But Joelinton showing some good dribbling now, playing a through pass to Saint-Maximin. Could have given us the winner there in the 75th minute, but he still needs to find his shooting boots for this season. Couple of good saves means that this match will end in a 1-1 result. I think a fair result for both parties. Obviously, we need to beat this sort of opposition in the future, but for now, I'm happy with the draw. It's an unbeaten start to the season so far. In the month of August, our final match will be against Spurs, a chance for Bale to play against his former side. But we decided not to include him in the starting 11. Rather, I decided to go with the partnership of Joelinton and Saint-Maximin. You've got to put the player that's in form, and for us right now, that is Joelinton. The Newcastle fans seem to have adopted him as a fan favorite, at least for season 2. A new dynamic tifo there, but a surprise not to see Heung-min Son in the starting 11. I don't know if that's due to injury or fitness issues, but Bergwijn's still a player that we'll need to watch out for. Spurs style of play seems to be getting the ball to their wingers and then gradually passing towards the center, similar to how they play IRL, and Angel Correa being one of their marquee signings this season. Gets a chance created, but it's a good save from Dubravka, continuing his good form from last year. Another double save here in the 17th minute. You've got to ask what our defense is doing to allow all these efforts. Maybe that's an area that we need to continue improving upon in future transfer windows, but it's another long shot and another goal conceded. Kind of sums up FIFA 22 so far. Dele to get the goal and give Spurs the lead 20 minutes in. We will try to answer back 5 minutes later. Almiron to play through Saint-Maximin, fouled outside the box. One of our first free kick chances that we've had in this save. Usually I would put Bale on the spot, but because he is on the bench right now, it's Almiron to step up and take it. Decides to go for the top left. Green times it, and it's off the top of the crossbar and out of play. Would have been a fantastic way to find the equalizer. As we get into the second half, our missed chances ended up costing us. Højbjerg with a really interesting goal. I would still call it a long shot, but we'll see here from the replay how unique this shooting animation was. He kind of chipped it over the keeper, lofting over Dubravka. Nothing that he can do about that. And a lot of questions that we need to ask from our manager. But of course, we're going to feature Bale. We need 2 goals, and we're going to need them quickly. I think Bale is the right man for the job as Almiron finds Saint-Maximin. Nice passing away to find Cantwell, and the cross over to Gareth Bale. That's his first goal for Newcastle, and it is against his former club, hitting them with a respect celebration. This is why we signed him. He's got great finishing ability inside the box. Almiron, a very similar opportunity last season, saw the effort go wide. So now it's nice that we know we can rely on a proven striker. 69th minute as Saint-Maximin takes too heavy of a touch. Again, his form still needs to be found in this second season. I think it will come with time. As Santiago Munoz will also get a chance. I believe we brought him on at center attacking mid, which is one of his secondary positions. As the clock trickles down, we're going to get one final highlight. Munoz to find Saint-Maximin. I think that was a misread effort from Ginter, and Saint-Maximin is going to convert the chance, finally getting his first goal of the season. And what a way to score it. That's our first cinematic celebration of season 2. But that's a huge result as we'll complete the month of August unbeaten, and now moving all the way forward until January. You know it's got to be another cup fixture. This is the quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup. West Ham will be our opponents, and there are a couple of surprises here in this stage of the competition. 2 championship sides in West Brom and Petersburg. But I'm going to be looking for revenge here against West Ham. In our first match of this career mode, we actually lost to them 4-1. It is a very different side. I don't know if that's because they're rotating the team due to cup fixtures similar to what we do, but you'll notice they have made some marquee transfers. Calvert-Lewin being signed from Everton. The player I'm most going to be watching though is Thomas Souček. He scored a few goals against us in season 1, and this time around he's going to be even higher rated. But getting into the highlights, it is West Ham to score the first goal. The new signing Calvert-Lewin seems to be worth whatever would have been the hefty price that they paid to bring him in. Celebrating with the manager here. David Moyes, I respect the rotation in the starting 11. Always nice to see a bit of variety for the lineups. Looking to answer back in the 17th minute. It's Boscali, not the player that I would usually want in that sort of situation, but this is a rare occasion where I start him at center defensive mid, and every now and then he's going to find his way into the box. Miguel Almiron from left wing will give us the equalizer. That was on his preferred left foot, and maybe an area that we need to focus on playing him in more. It is one of his secondary positions. I think that's part of playing career mode. You need to try out new tactics every now and then, see what works, and sometimes you can surprise yourself. Quality save there on Woodman's near post, and we're going to get one final chance before the halftime break. Again, Almiron from the left side, floating it across, and Munoz with the acrobatic finish just about found the back of the net. I'm glad that we can finally have some momentum going into the second half as we seem to be the team in form. Cantwell will get his first appearance for the gameplay highlights, and it's an immediate impact as Joelinton will play an over-the-top through ball, and the headed effort nearly finds the goal. Again, it's the crossbar to deny us. And I don't know, maybe we have a future Alan Shearer-esque player with Cantwell. Of course, he's a center attacking mid right now, but if he works on his finishing just like Joelinton does, then we could have a great player. But that gives us a 2-1 lead, and Joelinton is the player that I want you all to keep an eye on because he's someone that has a knack for scoring goals. He had limited appearances in season 1, but still was one of the top scorers for the club. And I think the same could be said about Longstaff. We've got some other options ahead of him in terms of the squad depth, but he's still a young player and is showing great potential. We're going to have a little bit of help on our side as Calvert-Lewin's effort is denied, and we're going on the counterattack. It's Godfrey who plays through Joelinton, now over to Munoz. Great touch there to get away from the defender, cross goal, and it's denied. But late in the match, West Ham's defense was tired, and it could show as Munoz does a great stop to find Joelinton in the middle. In front of goal, I don't think we have a better player. Not only does he give that aerial option for crosses, he just has a knack for finding the back of the net, which is what we were missing last year. I'm happy to keep our progress in the Carabao Cup, but now we need to focus back on the Premier League. I mentioned how we would see a rematch against Arsenal. They are basically even with us in the table, slightly higher due to goal differential. But this is going to be a deciding fixture, especially with Callum Wilson now starting for them at striker. Some good players around him like Odegaard at center attacking mid, a new signing and Christian Tello. The transfer has clearly worked out for him because he leads the Premier League in goals at the halfway mark of season 2. But I don't have any regrets about the transfer. I'm happy to see that he's getting playtime at Arsenal, and we have a few players of our own in the top 15 with Bale and Saint-Maximin. We know from playing Arsenal last season that they like to hold on to the lion's share of possession. And despite the new selection of players, it's the same style of play. The one disadvantage of having Almiron play as a winger rather than at center attacking mid is his lack of height for those over-the-top through balls and crosses. He's not going to win as many of those aerial efforts. Fortunately, we can try to get the equalizer because Joelinton has a lot of confidence. He was having efforts on goal, and I like to see that from a striker. Even if they're not finding the back of the net, it's all right because we've got Gareth Bale from set pieces showing his versatility. He can play as a striker. He's playing out as a center attacking mid in this game, and he can score from these sort of chances. Having that presence inside the box is a game changer, and it's going to help us out a lot across all competitions. Joelinton from this left side, you've got to remember that left mid is one of his secondary positions, so his passing is going to be particularly good, and I like that link-up play with Saint-Maximin, even if, again, it didn't find the back of the net. Wilson will get his goal against us. I'm sure that's going to mean a lot for him. He's getting the recognition he deserves at Arsenal, and if he can lead them back to European competition, that'll be the best fit for all parties. Bale, again, in front of goal, is going to see his effort blocked by the defender on the line, and Joelinton has his shot saved by Bernd Leno. Arsenal trying to get a third as Tello is played through, and it's a brace for him. Against these top teams, we seem to be struggling. We went 2 goals down against Spurs. Now we're 2 goals down against Arsenal, but never call it quits as Saint-Maximin is played through. He's got more pace than the defenders, and he's going to go cross goal. Seems to have found his finishing boots as he picks up the ball. We're hungry for another. Now it's Longstaff to play Saint-Maximin. The flare with the back heel over to Munoz, and it is the equalizer. A third cinematic celebration for the episode, and it's my personal favorite due to the storyline we've got going so far with Munoz. Trust me, we're going to find a way to boost up his overall end potential because his contribution to the Newcastle team as an impact player is not matched by many people. A very different story this year compared to last season. I feel like we didn't struggle at all in terms of scoring goals, but defensively, we had our fair share of issues. We're sitting 10th at the halfway point of season 2, which, ironically enough, I'm more confident going into the second half of the season than I was last year. And as far as the table goes, things are a lot more predictable for the standings. Arsenal, Everton, and Wolves will be competing with us to try to get European qualification, as Leeds, Spurs, City, United, Liverpool, and Chelsea will round out the top 6. But the Premier League isn't the only pathway for us to qualify for Europe. We're again into the later stages of the Carabao Cup as we match up against Peterborough in the semi-final. Unless we see a shock result, we should be able to reach the final of that competition and hopefully feature that match in next episode's gameplay highlights. But how about this for some statistics? Look at Joelinton's goal contribution in the Carabao Cup. 3 appearances and 7 goals. Still pretty good numbers for the Premier League, but I'm ecstatic that Bale has been able to already reach the double digits. Saint-Maximin in 3rd for goals as he got 8 from 21. And another good contribution from one of our new signings. Cantwell leads the club in assists, 7 from 20. You've got Munoz with 4 from 13, and Maximin again in the top 3 as he had 3 assists from 21. That big upgrade in his overall due to the position change saw Godfrey with the most growth so far in season 2. He's going to spend the rest of the season out on loan at Marseille. I also want to talk about our top prospects for each country that we promoted players from our youth academy. James is spending the season out on loan at Inter Miami. We've seen a good upgrade in his rating already, +4 to his 67. Our network in France has brought back a good result. Jacquemin, a left winger at a 64 overall, seems to have a pretty balanced stats distribution. Ian Jack, a Scottish left winger / center forward, still torn as to where we should use him as his primary position. Of course, he's got the great pace and dribbling stats. If only he could see an improvement in his shooting statistics, then he would be an ideal center forward option. but I know a lot of you will be interested in our results from Northern Ireland. We had Joshua Coyne, a center midfielder, that we're going to try to change to a right winger to fit that best profile. But this episode's community question has to do with our selection of players. We've had some surprises for the top goal scorers, and I think Joelinton deserves some consideration for a starting striker role. This 3-5-2 with Almiron at cam, Saint-Maximin at left striker, and Bale at right striker is what we've predominantly used this season, but I think we could move some players around. Maybe Bale goes to that cam role, Almiron out wide to left wing, which is where he featured in the Carabao Cup. Joelinton would then play at left striker and Saint-Maximin at right striker. If y'all have any other suggestions for where we can play players and if we can try out different formations, feel free to leave that in the comment section as well. But I want to thank channel members for supporting what we do on YouTube. If you ever want to learn more about the membership program, click the join button right underneath the video. But I hope you all have enjoyed today's Newcastle episode. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.